Never mind. I just noticed that my mic was muted. So let's repeat that. Anyways, welcome to the Grey Exchange. I truly appreciate all you guys being here. Truly appreciate seeing a lot of friendly names in chat, which I'm going to say hello to here in a second. All right. Some people, I'm pretty sure some people like we couldn't hear. Yeah, right. Empress Kimberly. Oh man, what's up, Batman? Yarn Prepper, Little Miss Prepper, and McBean Scottish Fitness. Great video, by the way, McBean. I like the whole zinc and stuff like that, and some of that weight you be lifting, man. Not to give you credit. Good stuff. What's up, Harvey Black? Good to see you, Prepper Cowboy. Who else do we have in here? Mama Bear J15, Little Alaskan Home Place, Our Tent Life, Van City Prepper, Jeff. Good to see you, Jeff. How are you in that part of Florida? You doing all right down there? I think it's down there. Who knows? Maybe I'm backwards today. Who knows? All right. Well, who else do we got here? Coffee First and Speak. Good to see you. JT, Yarn. Who else do we got in here tonight? Scrolling on through. There's Tiny Titan. Who else? I know we got more people in here. Bonnie. Good to see you, Bonnie. Jan. Scott. Who else? You guys are chatting it up a bit, huh? Always like seeing that, though. What's up, Curious Lass? Angela, how you doing tonight? I'm not going to butcher your last name tonight on the stream. Oh, man. Visit Rizza Jizza, good to see you. Leona Riley. Bonnie. Joe March. Cellar Door. Raka. Andrew. Gallovidian. Thor Haven. What's our brother? Life with Bobby. Tammy Southern Homestead. No, it wasn't you. It was me. I always mess up the fun stuff. Always Prepping. Sue from Tampa Bay. Kaylin. Let me see. Joe March. Ann from MA. Deacon is in the house. Miguel. Big Dog. Good to see you. Sandy. Who else do we got in here? I got Thor Haven. Colleen Rich. Richard Moore. Dale. Let me see. All right. I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss anybody, but you know I'm going to. And hopefully they don't get upset with me. D14, I just saw you pop in there as well. Tina Mitchell, Flyover State. I got you, Empress. Let me see. Julie Cleary, how you getting? Stands Alone, Voodoo Queen. Teresa Atkins, Justin Morton. A lot of great folks in here tonight. Angels Arrive, Jesus Loving Homesteader, Kevin Grip, Milo on the Ready, and Babasia. Let me see. Did I miss anybody? I hope I didn't. I really try to get everybody. I'm small enough where should usually be able to get everybody. All right, Dr. Eric Kessel, good evening. And Milo, I have some news for you, Milo. And Milo's like, what are you talking about, Gray? So that canned good video that I did just recently, I think it was last week, out of all the comments, I had so many comments on there. Great, awesome comments. I had two people, just two, that said, hey, man, good information, but you talk too damn much. And I thought it was hilarious because they said I talk too much. And I was very polite because they're new folks, names I've never seen before. And I told them, I've had this conversation in the past. I said, my viewers, the core of my viewerships love it that I ramble on. And I was going to send them over to you, Milo, so that you can school them and be like, hey, man, this is what we like. We enjoy Gray to ramble. That's what makes Gray. But anyways, it was pretty funny. What's up, Dreams Acres? So a couple things before we get started tonight. And let me see. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody popping in there. Let me bring up this because I want to be able to, so you guys can visually see what I am talking about. First of all, I want to tell everybody to keep Tim, the prepping preacher, in your prayers. I was a little bit nervous the other day. And where did it go? There it is. Come on, Greg, get your life together. This is his community tab. And if you look at the tab that was in Dago, it looked a little concerning. Said some prayers for Tim, brother Tim. And today we got another update about 8 hours ago. His son has been doing a lot of the community tab. Tim was on there once. It looks like he might be getting a little bit better. But if you guys ever get a chance to go over there and, let him know Gray sent you, that you guys are sending prayers his way. Tim needs all the prayers that he can get. He's been going through it. It's been a couple of weeks now, folks. He's been fighting the you-know-what. So prayers to Tim. Very good guy. Speaks a good word. So I want to share that with you folks. Also, real quick, I don't know if you guys missed, I was on a episode of Round the Hay Bale, which was pretty fun. I put that in the community tab, as well as where else did I put that? I put it in the community tab, and I put it on the Discord link as well. I was a guest on their channel. We had a really good time. A lot of homesteaders, some farmers and whatnot wanted to talk about prepping. So I was a guest over there. If you get a chance, go check them out as well. That was a really good time. So I got that one knocked out. That one knocked out. Then next week, folks, next week I have a special guest coming on the channel. It'll be on the same slot that we're on today, which is Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is Bizza Rizza Jizza. He is in chat. If you're curious to know a little bit about the gentleman, prior to him joining me next week on the stream, check out his channel. I know a lot of folks will be dropping the links to some of this stuff like that. He's very well known for the Carrington Chronicles. If you guys like stories, like if you guys have listened to Angry American, if you listen to the Survivalist series by Dr. Arthur Bradley, quite intriguing, folks. It's like you're always waiting for that next video to come out. And it's been around for quite some time. He has a lot of different videos on there. He's a couple of stories, but great stuff. We'll have him as a guest next Tuesday. So look forward to that. I think that's going to be really cool. And Yarn Prepper, I got something for you as well. I can't see chat while all this is going on. Yes, Bonnie, love his stories as well. Good stuff, man. So go ahead and check him out. Like I said, he'll be my guest. You'll get to ask him questions. I have lots of questions as well. That's going to be a good time. Now, let me see. Before we get into our other stuff, Yarn, this is for you. Where is it at? Yarn, I think I got it set up. So, usually I drop Amazon links, right? Now, I'm not trying to sell anybody anything, but people are always asking me, Grey, where do you get your gear at? What are some of the things that you recommend and stuff like this? And it's been a while. I've worked on this for all day after I got off the stream on Monday and worked on this. It's a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. But this will be GreyMan's Amazon store. It's not totally done yet. I'm going to scroll through here, and you can see, I call it the Grey store. I thought that was just fitting. You know what I mean? It'll be the link down in the description. But stuff, I got it broken down with like medical supplies, solar energy, freeze-dried foods, knives and saws, water filtration, books, illumination products. And there's a couple things that are missing, preparedness gear. I also have fire starting materials and stuff like that. But things that I've either used or I recommend or that I myself are looking to purchase. You can always check out the companies before you make your purchases, look at the reviews and stuff like that. But Yarn, I finally got the link for it's in the description now. Under the affiliate links is my Amazon store up and running. So you guys can enjoy that. If you do so, go check it out. If you get a chance, let me know what you think. And we'll go from there. I'm trying to find my way to get back over to this screen here so that I can see what you guys are doing. All right. All right, Freaky Geek. Yeah, it looks like a lot of people are looking into. What's up, Adobe Farmers? Adobe Farrar. Sorry, I always mess that one up. Looks like a lot of people have been watching Biz's stories. That's awesome. Good to see. What's up, Mennonite? How you doing? Speaking of which, I wanted to mention this. Today's February 1st. I am going to talk a little bit before we get into the self-sufficiency stuff, because it can lead into prepping and whatnot. But I also wanted to discuss for you folks out there that are dealing with this storm that's coming your way, Missouri, Arkansas, northern Texas, some parts of Michigan, the East Coast up there and upstate New York, stuff like that. If you're out there, I pray and hope that you folks are ready for it, because it looks nasty, folks. It looks very nasty. They're calling it Blizzard 2020. There's some parts that are going to get, up to 20 inches of snow in places that normally don't get that much snow. Good evening, Joni. What's up, Judy? That's awesome, Judy. And the worst part about it is that other folks there's going to be some rain, but in between that line, it's in my Discord. He dropped the link in there. I forgot to this channel that went through it, but also the freezing rain. And like I said, freezing rain can be devastating to roads, to power lines and stuff like that. When I lived in Michigan, freezing rain cut us off from power. It destroyed the roads. Basically, you were stuck in your house with no power and freezing temperatures. What's up, little Alaskan home place? Pure blood, good to see you. Roger that, brother. What's up? Where did I see that at? Did I? No, I did say what's up to you. So, right on, McBean. Right on, McBean. That's awesome. So real quick, today's February 1st. What I wanted to touch on is a lot of folks, you always ask me about guests on my show. There's a lot of content creators right now. Like, let's say McBean's in there. Who else is in there? Josh, I've had you. What's up? Good to see you. Who else is in here? Mennonite has been in there. Any of you folks that have a channel, I have all year. Email me if you're a content creator and want to join Grey on the Screen on a Tuesday or a Thursday night, whatever's more convenient for you. Email me and we'll make a date and we'll get you here on the channel and have a discussion about your channel and what you offer to the community. Don't be camera shy. If you make videos, you can take the opportunity to come on the show and have a chat with the folks here in the Grey community. So I think that'd be awesome. And I do got a lot of agreed, Curious Lass. A lot of people like that. What's up, Miss J? Really, McBean? That's crazy. That is awesome. Such a small world. Quest Conquest, good to see you. Jennifer Cruz. Jennifer Cruz, you have a great channel as well. There's a lot of great folks. So if you guys ever want to be a guest on the channel, please email me. Reach out to me. You don't have to be professional. When I email people, I try to get all professional. It just seems to get me nowhere. It's like cricket sometimes. But all in all, you know, I'd love to have some of you guys as a guest. Fat Man, we need to get together, do something as well on my channel. And all that fun stuff like that. Right on, Infrared. Full of hope from Ireland. That's awesome. I love seeing you folks that are all over the world. That's really cool. I think it would be easier if we fly you over here. Right on, Frontier. Agreed. And I've had Billy and D on the channel as well. Great folks. Good to hear, Fat Man. Just because I like your what you're trying to do is to help people that are in smaller environments and learn from that aspect of prepping and preparedness and whatnot. And what can you do? What's up, Potato Head? So just wanted to throw that out there. And so tonight's streams about self-sufficiency and steps to becoming self-sufficient. Now I know everyone doesn't have that opportunity to go 100% self-sufficient or off-grid, things like this. But what I want you guys to take away from something like this is right on, Batman, agreed. Is how this relates to prepping. Okay. For me personally, my personal goal is to be as self-sufficient as possible. I don't want to depend on anyone other than myself or my family as a whole. I don't want to depend on any government agencies. I don't want to depend on anything, you know, city water, city sewer, all that stuff like that. I know some people are like, Grey, you're crazy. It's very, very rough. And that's what modern society has you sitting at, is that you're dependent on the grid. You're dependent on a lot of different things, Wi-Fi and internet and all that stuff like that, which sure, it's great. Some aspects of it is great, but the way I look at it is, if anything ever does really go super sideways, I want to be independent to the point where I don't have to worry about anything, be it food, water, you know, all the different things that come with self-sufficiency. And I know there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, stuff up there in Canada and other places that we could be talking about. But I think a lot of people have been doing enough coverage of that you guys are aware of all the things that are happening with the storm that's coming through that I just touched on. Also, the Canadian trucker situation, as well as what's happening across the globe with all that. So I kind of wanted to just touch on something a little different than stuff that's out in the media currently. New Raptor Stacker. I like that name. That is awesome. And that's what I'm really hoping to get to. I see you guys talking about Nito. It makes me want to grab my can that I had the other day. You guys must be talking about this here. Got a can of that. I was talking about that on the show the other day on their channel. Anyways, I got stuff laying all around me sometimes from doing videos and whatnot. But anyways, so I got my little notes here to kind of give me some talking points here in regards to self-sufficiency. And one thing about self-sufficiency is you want to be a producer. Someone basically who you provide for your daily needs on the aspect of food and water, all your different necessities that you would assume, ways to wash your clothes and all that fun stuff like that. Right now everybody has a nice washing machine and all the good stuff, and living the life of luxury per se, right? Another key part to being self-sufficient is being debt-free, which is not as easy as some people say it is, but because it takes some time depending on how much debt that you're in. Sorry, I was just staring at chat for a second. Mennonite, I was just talking about you, in a good way. So, anyways, when you're living off grid, you need to know how to do certain things like maintain your own systems. That's why I think having a good reference library or a prepper library, or however you want to call it, is huge. I appreciate that, McBean. Thank you so much. They're one of my favorite companies because of the fact that if you tear them or they break or whatever, they just give you a new one, no questions asked. Little loan prepper, better late than never. We're only been going for about we've been going for 17 minutes. Grey, you do talk too much. Anyways, another thing with self-sufficiency is mental preparedness for that. Some people think about self-sufficiency in the aspect of, well, this is awesome and this is great. But when they start following in that direction of self-sufficiency and they realize they have to give up their Netflix, they have to give up, modern society's niceties, they give up really quick, and they kind of jump away from that. But I don't know. To me, I want to enjoy life and everything that pretty much that I work for. I want to get my hands dirty. I want to go to my garden and grab stuff. I want to, see my animals in the morning and grab my fresh eggs and all that fun stuff like that. Now, the first step to that, of course, is getting a piece of land and property, as well as, building a homestead. A lot of homesteaders, to me, it's like this graduation of things. First someone, they're living somewhere and they start grabbing a couple odds and ends like foods and stuff, and they start prepping because they're trying to prepare for, they've either been through an emergency or seen someone else go through an emergency, or they've come across a channel like myself or others, and they said, well, that sounds like a good idea. Let me be prepared. And then some folks go from that preparedness and they get into homesteading, and then they kind of mold that into self-sufficiency. Now, full self-sufficiency is 100% off the grid. A lot of folks can't do that because they may have children, they may have whatever financial issues or whatever that can be. But if you put enough hard work into it, I think anybody has the capability to do it. It might take more time than you would assume. But I just don't want you to think to yourself like it's an absolute waste of time, because it's not. Exactly, Empress Kimberly. And Gardner Josh, you're absolutely right. Do the best we can with what you got, and for sure, make it work. And that's what I want to start off. Speaking of Gardner Josh, is starting a garden, and then every year expand it. You start learning things in that garden. Even if you only have a small space, like you're an apartment building. I've seen so many gardening channels on in California who have basically taken every inch of their property that they possibly can. Even the people that are in either these condos or apartment complexes or whatever, they've somehow made a garden. Now, I'm assuming if you're living in an apartment, some people have a small apartment, 1 or 2 bedrooms, because it's their wife and themselves or their child or whatnot. Take that into consideration. How much food do you need to grow to be self-sufficient? You have to run these numbers through your head. What types of food that you want to grow and things like that. Learning to, depending on where, once you start getting into the bigger picture of things, you want to learn how to rotate your crops. You want to learn how to, how to fight pests. And you want to try to go as organic as possible. I know some people fear that word organic, you know what I mean? 100% organic. Because honestly, folks, most of the food that you get at the grocery store, all the groceries and fresh vegetables, they're not organic. Even some of them say they do, which there's some out there. But when you do your research, you come to find out a lot of these folks just get a stamp of approval because they paid enough money to say that their stuff is organic. Quest Conquest, better learn skills now. Hold on, I wanted to bring that up. What's up, Camo Patriot? Better learn skills now when you can. Just run to the store rather than when things become harder to obtain. Agreed. Well stated. I want to grow steaks, bacon, and burgers. KT, I'm going to touch on that. I'm going to touch on that. Another important aspect of gardening is learning how to preserve your foods. In chat, we have a lot of people that dehydrate. We have a lot of people that pickle stuff, people that are into fermentation, people that are into, the whole canning aspect, from canning proteins and making jams and all kinds of stuff like that. Matter of fact, I've been telling everybody that I'm going to start canning, right? And I have the big canning, the big Presto one, and it's kind of big, and it's in the way where I can't do it. So I bought another canning. I bought the 16 quart so that I can start canning immediately and show you guys me canning. So hopefully that'll be here the next couple of days, because the big one is just not enough room in my kitchen. I have a small kitchen. So I got the 16 quart because that one fits better. I was at a friend of mine's house who's a farmer, and he had the 16. He's like 3 or 4 canning devices and whatnot. And the 16 quart, he had the Presto 16 quart, and I like it. You can only do one layer, like one certain amount of cans in there, or jars and stuff, but I like it. Makes me think about something before I continue. Whenever I do a video, like the one I did on Wednesday, I said the top 10 Peter Rouse, and that's another thing you got to learn. It's your growing seasons, what zone you're in. You should make me pause and think about that. Bacon seeds are all sold out. Roger that. When I do like a video that I did on Wednesday, was it my top 10 survival, or my top 10 canned proteins, or whatever that I named that title. Most of the comments are always positive. But there's always a few that say, hey, they come at me and be like, what about corn and stuff like that They don't understand. But when I say a top 10, that doesn't mean that's the only thing that I'm saying for you to get or suggest. I'm telling anybody to get anything. These are just ideas from my experience. But when I say a top 10, that doesn't mean I don't have a top 15 or a top 20 or a top 30 or even a top 50. These are just the top 10. And the reason I choose that for my top 10 is because those were some of the more cleaner, more healthier options when it comes to proteins, like chicken and salmon and tuna and meat, compared to a lot of the other ones out. Someone said, you don't have Spam on your list. And I said, I prep Spam. I do. I don't enjoy it as much as, like, let's say corned beef hash, but I do prep that. It just didn't make that list. I said, but it's made other lists. Thank you, Harvey Black, for that. Agreed, Freaky Geek. Also, when it comes to gardening, you want to learn how to save seeds and which seeds to save, and I have a lot of information on my screen here with my notes, so I probably won't be able to go through all of it because we'll be here all night, but I write a lot of notes. You want to know the difference between heirloom and hybrids. You'll hear that a lot in chat, that heirloom is the way to go. And I agree to a certain extent. Now, some people may hate me for saying this, but I've been experimenting. Last year I experimented with certain things. I do have lots of heirloom seeds, but I've also played around with some of the hybrids. People say, well, I only do heirloom. And I want to use this for an example. And you guys can check this on via Google or whatever platform that you want to do your research on. But everybody likes a nice, most people like watermelons, right? You like a big old watermelon, nice and fresh and stuff like that. But watermelons, those are all hybrids. Those are all, they've been changed. Watermelons were only about this big initially. Watermelons were small. Now watermelons are different. So how do I say this? It's just like a lot of things have been modified throughout history. To actually get a seed, 100% authentic seed from nothing, that's like the most authentic you can get. It's a lot harder than it. I've been researching, and the reason I'm talking about this is because I've been researching the heck out of seeds in general. What's up, Texas T? Good to see you. Maverick, good to see you. Auslander, good to see you as well. Infrared, that's awesome. I think everyone should get books about canning. The All-American Canners are phenomenal. I just can't afford one right now. Some people said I should check Craigslist and other places like that, but to make sure that I don't get robbed, for one thing, because there's some people will sell you broken stuff. Being that I don't know as much as I should know about canners and whatnot, pressure canners, I would have to take someone with me who is very viable, that could check it out for me and make sure it's in good working order. Yes, Little Known Prepper watermelon is yummy, especially on a nice hot summer day. Great stuff. And watermelon has a lot of different health nutrients in it as well. There's so many things that have great nutrients in it. Speaking of which, folks, someone told me a while ago that I could not grow blueberries here in my area when I did a gardening video I don't know, months ago when I did a video about blueberries. Well, guess what? Miss Little, I don't know, 1.5 foot, almost 2 foot little blueberry that I haven't taken out of the pot yet because I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with it this year. Has buds, has a couple buds on there, and they're turning into blueberries. It never left the pot that I got it in. So blueberries can grow in Florida. Emperor's Kimberly hybrids have a lot of disease and insect resistance bred into them. Probably a good idea in a crisis situation. And that's you took the words out of my mouth, Empress, is because they have, in my personal, I'm collecting all seeds, heirloom seeds, hybrid seeds, seeds that out of my garden, like every plant that I'm growing this year, like just now, my plants went through I had a disaster out there because of the wind and the cold that we just dealt with. That I've been working on. That's why I've been so busy cleaning that mess up to get prepared for spring and the gardening season and all that stuff like that. But I'm taking seeds from those plants that I grew last year because they've endured the heat from last year. And the seeds that I'm having now, some of the tomato plants that I have out there, I'm going to take some of those seeds as well and use those again. Take the seeds because they get used to the way it was grown. If that makes sense. Am I saying that right? Your seeds get used to the environment they've been growing in. So that plant transitions into, okay, I went through this freeze. I dealt with this heat. I've dealt with certain things. I've dealt with these type of insects. So those seeds are going to be better suited for the following year. At least that's from the way I look at it. I'm not a master gardener, so, I could have some backlash from that statement, but it is. Everything is open to opinion. If you fail at something, it's a learning experience. I don't consider it a failure, at least that's how I look at it. What's up, Rebecca? And I saw something up here that grabbed my attention. Yeah, the term GMO is a joke. Right on, Mennonite. Someone said blueberries grow great in Florida. Right on, Jeff. And Jeff's in the same zone as I am. Jan, I agree. The open pollinated varieties, it's funny you mentioned that because I was just reading about that just the other day. Seeds acclimated. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. And Leslie, not Leslie, Lisi. Thank you as well. You guys are awesome. What's up, Ragnar? I've been learning that there's a lot of great information, but take every bit of information with a grain of salt, because some things that you experiment with when it comes to gardening, you'll learn a lot from. And you'll realize that someone told you, no, you couldn't do this. And then you do it and it works for you because it just happens to work for you and your environment and the soil and all that stuff like that. So I say, try to give everything an opportunity. Thank you, Galavidian. I appreciate that. I like to get some of that feedback from you guys. What's up, Hawkeye? Good to see you. Old Farmer's Almanac's great. That's a great book, Deacon. Sorry, I'm loving my coffee right now. Mailing you a package in the morning. All seeds are in it. Are tried true. Thank you, Joni. Very kind of you. And I haven't been to the post office box. I will check the post office box tomorrow. Anything that I have in the post office box, I'll share with you guys on Thursday, as long as the folks that sent it say it's okay. Also, learning how to store your seeds, folks. I'm building a seed bank. I talked about this on around the hay bale. That's what I'm focusing on right now. In my preps is my seed bank. I'm organizing all my seeds, labeling all my seeds. I'm even color coding them, which may be excessive, but I'm trying to, because there's so many different varieties of tomatoes and different plants. So I'm dating them, I'm writing them, I'm putting them in little containers. Some seeds I vacuum seal, others I don't, because some seeds are more fragile than others. And when you vacuum seal them, they can crush. But most of the time, if you keep the seeds, away from, cool and dry in a dark place, you're usually pretty good. At least for me, it's worked that way over the last few years. Curious Labs, we have tons of blackberries. I love blackberries. Great antioxidants in those blackberries. And for you folks that are diabetics, anything berry, strawberry, blueberry, blackberry, raspberry, dig into it, because berries have a lot less sugar than some of the other plants, like let's say mangoes and watermelons and stuff like that, and bananas, who have a lot more sugar in them than other plants. Anything with berries in it or any citruses are more on the healthy option for you folks out there that might suffer from diabetes. Thank you, Joe March. I am on the east central coast of Florida, if that helps. I'm in zone 9B. 9B, that's where I'm at. All right, let me move on to talked about seeds. We talked about gardening. Let me see here. Seeds that are adapted to specific climate. We touched on that. One thing that I'm learning as of right now is you need to learn. Do you guys know what a staple crop is? Staple crops are like potatoes, corn. What else can we name a staple crop? I thought I had a list here for you, but like rice, wheat, millet, things like that. A staple crop. Find out, is everyone needs a staple crop to grow, especially when it comes to self-sufficiency. You need that main one, you know, and you need to know what it takes to grow that crop and how much you needed that crop to sustain you and your family. And, you know, basically, you know, I'm assuming everybody knows what I'm talking about here. Hopefully, Florida beautyberry. I've never heard of that one. Quest. I have to look into that one. All right. Where am I at? So yeah, and a key feature to staple foods is that, you know, it supplies the carbohydrates, the fats, and all that good stuff like that, and can be stored for long periods of time. Right now, you know, like I said, you guys see me when I did that video about rice. I don't think I can grow rice here, but I know folks in Florida grow corn and other types of wheats and things like that. So that's what I consider a staple crop. Potatoes grow well in Florida as well, even in the sandy soil. Sweet potatoes do it as well. Or yeah, I don't know if that made sense there. Right on, Rabbit Coyote 66. I like it. Our nurse mandates canceled. Full of hope. I'm not 100% sure. You know, there's a lot of different things happening with the Supreme Court and stuff like that, and OSHA and stuff like that. But also you have to understand that we're a republic of states, and states can still do things regardless of what the federal government says or whatever the Supreme Court says. There's a lot of, it gets very complicated and convoluted with a lot of different stuff. Because I'm pretty sure, matter of fact, I think Rudy over at Alaska Prepper just did a video, I think starting either this month or in a couple of months, T-Mobile, the manufacturer T-Mobile, cell phone provider, or whatever you want to call them, are firing everybody that still hasn't gotten the thing. You know what I mean? So there's still stuff going on out there. It's just something that you have to pay attention to. You need to look at your local governments on what's going on outside of the federal government. Okay, Frontier Preppers. Semi-chi rice. Sem-chi rice. Sem-chi. I can't even say it, Frontier. Yeah, Peter Rouse, exactly. We're talking about the UK. Oh, roger that, KT. Sorry about that. I just seen it pop up, so I was just trying to address it. American beautyberry growing in nature in Florida and a little in Tennessee. I'm going to look that one up. I appreciate that, guys. It's another plant that I need to look up. Just like muscadine, grapes grow well in Florida. Anyways, to continue what we've been talking about before we run out of time, we're only about 35 minutes in. So we're doing good. We're doing good. Another key to self-sufficiency is about breeding your own source of protein and land fertility. This can be, you know, cows, chickens, goats, ducks, whatever type of birds. Some people use pigeons. Believe it or not, I'm shocked, but pigeons out there that people use, they're called meat pigeons, and people raise pigeons to eat. Oh, thank you, Frontier. I appreciate that. Thank you for the clarification. Yeah, Little Lone Prepper. I was thinking about bringing that up because every time I see a fertilizer plant fire, it makes me get conspiratorial, because that's not the first one. There's been so many fertilizer plant fires here in the U.S., abroad. It's like, and like I said, I need to put my Tim the Prepping Preacher tinfoil hat on, and think that is it purposeful? Why are all these fertilizer plants catching fire? But that's a chat for another stream. But yes, it's I know they went door to door knocking on people's places and saying, telling them to be careful and whatnot. And Jeff, thank you. I see you sent me a chat. I'll look at it when we're done. Oh, thank you, Fat Man. I appreciate that. And also chickens make great manure, folks. The chicken manure is awesome. And they also eat bugs and stuff. So I like chickens is one of my favorite things. I know we're going to be getting into some other stuff with Fat Man. So don't, Fat Man, I'm not going to discount you. We're going to get into that as well down the road. There's a big Y in about 15 miles from me in Winston-Salem. Roger that, Scott. How you doing, Scott? You doing all right? And Frontier says, yeah, pigeons are good eating. Blueberries don't grow well here, so I plant huckleberries. They taste the same. Voodoo, you're in Florida, right, with me. Is that correct or no? I know somebody's in there. I forget where you're at, Voodoo. What's up, Duke? I looked into huckleberries as well. I know they take a little bit longer to grow than blueberries. If I think I'm correct in that. Right on, McBean. McBean, that makes me feel great that I'm not alone in my train of thought. Yes, Quest, and that's keep on. The reason I haven't said it is because I forgot the dang name. But Quail, yes, Batman and Quail, and you as well. Quail does have a fast turnaround. I've been digging deep into Quail because I learned a little bit from Fat Man on his channel, and Quail do produce are great meat birds as well. And if you're going to do something like that, you better make sure that you know how to butcher these animals. You have people that are, what is it, the vegans? I think that's what it is, or stuff like that. But in a survival situation, vegans probably will go and eat meat because they're going to need it, because they're not going to have the supplements they need for the protein and the imbalance of minerals that they're going to be missing out on. But anyways, that's a whole different thing. Nothing against anybody who's vegan. I'm just saying that in a certain situation, you're going to need some different types of protein that you're normally not associated with. Anyways, and you need to figure out what animals you can raise in the environment and the space that you have. If you get a goat, know what it entails raising that goat. Think about all the different things that might happen with the goat. See, because my wife, she was raised on a horse farm, a really large horse farm in Maryland. And she told me all the maintenance that comes with the horse, all the vet bills and all the things that are associated with that. And so in my head, I'm thinking, okay, well, if things went really sideways and you have a horse, do you, the person that owns that horse, know how to save that horse if something's going on with it? Or do you got to put it down and then you lose that horse? Do you know how to breed the animals that you're going to be doing? Animal husbandry and all that fun stuff like that. And then, if you're going to be, let's say we'll use quail, for instance. If you're going to be harvesting quail meat, do you know how to properly store it, for long-term storage? Do you have a freezer? If you lose power, what do you do in that instance? Do you have a backup plan? Matter of fact, we're buying another freezer because our other freezer is full, which I guess is a good thing to have. But I have each one of my freezers, and I don't know how beneficial it is, but I have them on little solar, you guys know, like Jackeries and Blue Eddies and stuff like that. I have the freezers hooked to that as a fallback, just in case the freezer fails and we lose power. The freezer doesn't lose power. And sure, phone, make some noise for me. Eat the horse. Right on, Peter House. I'm pretty sure some folks do. I've read lots of stories. I've never had horse meat myself, to be honest with you. I've never tried it. Dreams Acres, can anyone describe the difference in taste of quail eggs? I've ate quail eggs before, and not too much. To me, I didn't really taste too much difference. I had them scrambled and added some cheese and some veggies to it. So they were a little bit darker in color, but all in all, not too much. Use traps. Alive animals last longer. Yeah, agreed. Quest. What's up, Charlie? And speaking of traps, Charlie is an excellent trapper. If you've been watching his videos, he's been trapping rabbits and whatnot. And I agree. But like, again, if you're trapping animals, you got to know how to trap them. You got to know how to process the meat, and then how to store the meat for long term. Let's say if you ever watch some of the survival shows and people out there, they kill a buffalo and they got to make that last, or you watch any of those shows where they kill a big game. Then they got to process all that meat before it spoils. A lot of people smoke it. Some people will salt their meats. There's all different types of primitive things that you can do. I don't say primitive, but things that our ancestors did to preserve meat because they didn't have refrigerators. Learn how to make root cellars. Even here in Florida, I've learned techniques that I can use to build a root cellar, even in my environment, if I had to. The color drop, that's a great idea as well. And to have that aspect, what I want to know is any canners out there ever canned on an open flame? So let's say that you don't have access to power, you don't have access to a stove. I guess you could use a wood burning stove. That would come in very handy. I'm just wondering if anybody's ever canned on an open fire, if they had to do something like that. I was curious about that. You can raise alligators in Florida. Scott, yeah, alligator meat is phenomenal. I love alligator. Horse meat is just a case of getting used to the flavor, same as with anything out there that doesn't taste like chicken. Right on, Oslander. Can't eat my horse. Neighbor has tons of cows. That's awesome. Ms. Me today, I agree. Gator's awesome. Wow, we have about 135 people in chat, 95 thumbs up. That's awesome. I just happened to notice that. What's up, Creative Redundancy? How are you doing today? Good to see you. Another thing, I'm trying to keep track of my self-sufficiency list here. And so we're talking about animals. Also, if you want, I'm not going to say eat cats and dogs, but if you have animals and you also have pets, do you know how to feed your animals entirely from your land? Where you're not going to the store and buying dog food. You're not going to the store and buying cat food. Are you going to be growing foods for them as well? You know what I mean? Just because think of that, folks. A lot of people have animals or farm animals. And this was a topic that we were talking about, matter of fact, on that live stream that I did with those folks. And it was brought up is like, how do you feed your animal if you don't have access to go to the store and buy dog food or cat food or food for your pigs? Well, pigs can almost damn near eat anything. They'll even eat themselves if you chop them up. But, what do you feed your chickens and stuff like that? Something to think about. And like I said, I know it sounds like a lot of information when it comes to self-sufficiency, but all in all, to me, it's worth it. It's worth it to be non-dependent on the system and to be just dependent on yourself and the things that you create and that you do. To me, all the work and time and effort that goes into it will feel good. It'll feel good that once I accomplish these goals and do these things, when I know I can go out and if I had to slaughter a pig and process that meat, and then for dinner we're going to have some sort of some bacon and the eggs from the hens and the garden the vegetables from the garden. And then I go down to the fruit tree and make a pie of a blueberry pie or whatever, huckleberry pie, whatever, that it's all that me and my family have grown and raised. So we know where everything is coming from. We know how they were treated. We know everything. And a lot of people talk about the best way to do some certain animals is free range. You see that a lot in this day and age, when you go shopping, you'll say free range chickens and stuff like that. If you have the property to do so, I think that would be good. My wood stove has an oven compartment up top. It's great. I'm planning on growing. Oops, missed that one. Plan on growing. Whoops. Where was that? Excuse me. Pigs can live on horse poo. Right on, Quest. It's cost effective to raise crawdads. Crawdads, man, I haven't had those in a while. It's like shrimp. Bonnie said quail eggs are richer. We used to raise all kinds of quail, huns, chuckers, and ringnecks, exotic pheasants. Peru for the guinea pigs, they still do. It's a staple. Really, Galavidian. I didn't even think about that. I've never ate guinea pig either. Use a handheld vacuum to pull nasty bugs from plants and feed the bugs to the chicken. Right on, good in the woods. Great idea. Kaylin Strain says a ration reviewer I watch feeds one of his dogs cooked chicken that is not seasoned and is because of his health. Funny that you say that, Kaylin. A lot of folks do give their animals table scraps. Because most dog foods out there, especially the cheaper stuff, has so much fillers in it, sawdust, and all kinds of nasty stuff in it. It's just really not beneficial to the animal themselves. Interesting, Duke. Growing kale kale in the wintertime is good. Here in Florida, you do have to grow kale when it's a lot cooler out. We had some different experiences with it. We were messing around with kale this year. Yeah. Rabbit is also, and rabbits, they almost, I was going to say replicate, but rabbits, they produce fast. They're very fast producers as well. Have a soldier fly farm, feed the larvae to the chickens. Good in the woods. It's funny you say that. When I was reading a book, was it Angry American? They set up a fly trap with rotted meat and drew in flies and used the fly larvae to feed their chickens. That's excellent, Charlie. I'll have to check that out. And you're like the rabbit king, man. You're like the rabbit king. What's up, Daily Prepper? And that's Daily Prepper. Weren't you the one that dropped that link in the Discord in regards to the blizzard and the storms coming? Now, for you folks, speaking of storms and wintertime, right on, KT. Well, hopefully you're going to eat something healthy at this hour. You folks out there in the northern regions that where it gets really cold at, when you're growing food and all that stuff, like when it comes to animals and food, do you have enough to get you through the winter? Especially a harsh winter. To me, if I was in a situation where I lived in a place where it gets cold at and it snows and I get ice and winter can fluctuate, especially, I mean, frontier preppers, you guys deal with a lot more cold and winter weather than most of the lower 48. So I'm assuming if you guys were gardening or prepping food and whatnot outside of what you would get at a store, you guys would have to really think, how long can that winter run for? How cold is it going to be? So you would need to grow a lot more food in a space to provide for you and your family over a long period of time. Yeah, sorry, I was starting going down a tangent here, not a tangent, but like let me see that might not James. Let your chickens roam around the yard; they will rid of insects, and that's what I love. That Minute Man. I've been talking to a lot of people who have chickens here locally, and they don't have as many pest problems now. Certain chickens will mess with your vegetables and stuff like that as well. So there's some pros and cons, but they'll eat a lot of the stuff in the yard and whatnot. Not my first rodeo prep for the year. That's awesome, Angela. Good to hear. I love your tangents. Dobie, I wish everybody did. Evidently, some folks don't like me when I ramble on too much. I told them, I said, well, I'll try to make the videos a little shorter when I do some content for them. Try to make everybody happy. I won't be able to, but because I'll start to ramble just like I'm rambling now. Another thing about self-sufficiency, because it's getting later. The Bearded Butchers have a great channel on how to process animals. The Bearded Butchers, that's a good one. Let me copy and paste that. Thanks for that, Deacon. I'll put that in my little notepad that I have here. Appreciate that. Gray loves rabbit holes. That I do, Kaylin. I do go down some of these crazy rabbit holes. Charlie, I appreciate that, brother. You guys, and this is why I love most of you folks on this channel. You guys are such phenomenal folks, and you're extremely supportive. Always so supportive of me rambling and whatnot. Thank you, Milo. Yeah, Adobe, I know. Can't please everybody. I try, man. I'm trying to be a very accommodating content creator. And I'm realizing that I can't be all the time, but I try to. And I answer these comments that are usually not as, they're just, I guess they're not nice or whatever. It's their opinion. So everybody's entitled to opinion, but I do answer them politely. I'm never mean about it. So that's, I want to be, but I don't because, I wouldn't want someone to do that to me if I disagreed with somebody. That's just my type of personality that treat others as you wish to be treated, That I did, Minuteman 69. I'm trying to get a hold of him, Minuteman. We'll see if I can get a hold of him or not. Maybe if you keep on antagonizing him, he'll reach out to me. A lot of folks underneath your comment, Minuteman, I think someone also said that they would love to see us on the same screen together. But we'll keep that under wraps until we figure it out. But getting water off grid is another troubling thing to do when you're off grid. Texas T, thank you so much for the super chat. Ramble on, brother. We learned from your tidbits. I appreciate that. Texas T, you are the first super chat of February. I truly appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. So water. Let's talk about water real quick in regards to self-sufficiency. You got different options. You have well water, rain catchment systems, you have ponds, you have springs, lakes, rivers, all that kinds of stuff like that. So depending on how you use this stuff and how you're going to, do you have access to a well? Do you have access to ponds? Most people have access to rain other than, let's say, if you're out in Arizona and maybe you're going through a drought, or California, then that could be an issue there. But know how to purify that water. How are you going to transport that water? How are you going to store that water? Kind of get where I'm going. So, like I said, there's a lot of elements to self-sufficiency, and there's a lot to learn. Oh, Beavernine. I can't even say it, Little Miss Prepper. Yeah, Berkey is going up in price. I did see that. I did see that as well. Then you got your, ways to store. You got rain barrels. You got cisterns. What else do you got? Worst case scenario, you got to bucket it. You got to bucket water. But there's different ways to store water. Some better than others. Purification of water, having the chemicals to do so. I've told you folks, and I'm going to say this on the live stream, but before anybody does this, please do your research. I've done a video on this, but you can use bleach for purification of water. And so just make sure that you know how to use the ratio correctly. You don't want to get sick or do something wrong. But you can just boil water and then filter it through some cheesecloth or handkerchiefs or whatever you can. That list goes on. Anyways, when it comes to water, you also have to look about how much water you and your family needs. Let's say if you're on a homestead or if you're off grid or whatnot. Outside of just for cooking and eating, you need to learn. Your animals need water. You need water for washing clothes and bathing and stuff like that. So a lot of it comes to water is huge, and having a good water source is going to be key to self-sufficiency. So if you're looking for land like I am, I'm always looking for natural water resources on those lands, be if it's a pond or if it's a stream or a creek, whatever it may be, that increases the benefit to that land that you happen to purchase. Bought a folding chair commode for elderly with a suitable bags, better than a bucket. Roger that, Full of Hope. What's up, comrade? Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, who else do we got here? So yeah, and that's just some tips on water. You know what I mean? We're just kind of going down the list here, and we're almost up to an hour. So I got a little bit more things on this topic. And like I said, I was talking about earlier in the stream about getting out of debt. Because debt can be a mental roadblock, folks. It can be, man, if you have the opportunity to pay off, let's say your credit cards or pay off your vehicles, house, that can be a lot more complicated. I know some people own a 30-year mortgage with crazy interest rates. Yeah, whatever the case may be. But it is a huge financial hurdle. But once you get out of that debt, it'll feel so good. I mean, honestly, folks, I don't get me wrong. I'm not totally out of debt yet. I'm working on it. There's a few more things I need to take care of. But then, like I said, then I had to worry about the land that I want. Do I have enough cash to purchase the land and all that fun stuff like that? Raptor Ranch, good to see you. Payday preps today. Roger that. John Kelly, hi from Minnesota. Good day. Good day to you as well. Blue Vandal, how are you doing? Dave Ramsey. I own my own home and I'm debt free. That's awesome, Angela. That is awesome. Full of Hope says, but property tax will be huge. And Full of Hope, that's another thing that as I'm looking at property, I'm looking at the taxes, their history of taxes. Well, what have they been paying in taxes for that piece of property over the last decade? How high is it going? Is there big jumps or is there small jumps? And what to look forward to in owning that property. Now, of course, if things go really sideways and the world, happens to lose its mind and society as we know it ends, we won't have to worry about taxes for a while, I guess, right? Until things get back on track. Quest, I'm looking anywhere from 1 to 3 acres. In my area, believe it or not, that can be anywhere from as low as $15,000, $20,000 an acre up to almost $100,000 an acre, depending on where the land is. There's certain restrictions here when you look at land. If there's what do they call them, gopher turtles on the property, then it costs you. You have to pay them to get relocated. If it's a wetland, I'll have to look at that. If it's high and dry, does it need a road? Because a lot of the places I look at are rural, and instead of having any type of road, they have like a small path to get to these properties, and then you're responsible for at least a dirt road aspect of it, which is weird. Trust me. So there's a lot of different financial aspects to land in my area. I wish I could just go. There's certain places out in the U.S. where you could just buy a piece of land and park a trailer there and live there, no problem. That's awesome, Granny Fisher. Here we can do double homestead exemptions. Once we get our property, which will lower the taxes. Yeah, infrared. I'd never live in Hawaii either. It's just too secluded. Too secluded, which I guess can be good for certain people. I just wouldn't want to be in the middle of the ocean. I don't know. Way out there. Supply chain gets cut off. Everything runs out. Let's say there's no airplanes, there's no shipping. Hawaii would be on their own, and I think they'd be eating each other before long. But there'll be some folks out there that can survive. People have been living on Hawaii for a long time. They know what to grow, how to hunt, what to look for. But would everything on that island be hunted to extinction? How limited are the resources on that island? Something to think about when it comes to places like Hawaii and other small islands. In Florida, you have to be careful of the protected beach mouse. Really? That's another. I haven't even heard of that one, Babasia. Let me see here. Jesus loving homesteader. We've learned to be content. We stopped buying the stuff that we wanted to buy and started using knowledge and resources. And I have that on the. Makes me think of one of my other points here. It says eliminate the concept of waste and see it as a resource. Think about how much people waste this day and age. They throw away their banana peels or orange peels. They throw away seeds. They throw away scraps. To me, I'm looking at that like, I wouldn't throw away the seeds. I would try to save the seeds. I wouldn't throw the banana peels away because I would use those for compost. We're in a society where we just throw everything away. Most people just throw every single thing away. It's just so convenient for them to put it in a bag and put it by the curb, and it'll disappear within the next day or so, right? We have to learn and understand how to repurpose and reuse everything, from the scraps from our tables to pieces of wood scraps to everything. To me, everything would be a commodity at that point if it wasn't accessible to go to the store and buy. Getting out of debt is awesome, but fail to pay your property taxes and the government takes everything right away. Yeah, Thorhaven, it is a catch-22 with that. But like I said, depending on where you live, and what I'm talking about is where you wouldn't have to pay taxes is if the world upended itself and we were, fend for yourself mode kind of thing like that, then taxes wouldn't be an issue. But yes, when it comes to property during normal modern society, pay attention if you're looking for land out there, and what are the property taxes and how beneficial, is it going to be? Is it something that you can afford? If you get a homestead and you pay taxes on that, can you grow things on that homestead? Can you make things like soap? Can you sell some produce? What else can you do to raise money to pay for your taxes so that you're not dependent, where you're not at the end of the year, or if you don't have it wrapped up into your mortgage or whatnot, but at the end of every year, if you own the property outright, that you have enough money that you're self-sufficient to pay for the cost of the taxes. The Daily Prepper does have a channel, Mountain Grandma. Let me see here. Eggshells, coffee grounds, potato peels, vegetable scraps all go back in the garden. Well said, McBean. Well said. I've been saving eggshells for tomato garden. Grinding into powder is supposed to help with blossom and rot. Yeah, eggshells. I've used eggshells as well. I did it wrong the first time. I think Yarn Prepper is the one that helped me out with that. I didn't grind them into a powder. I just let them dry out in the sun, rinsed them, and then dried them out in the sun, and then just mixed them into my soil. It's like a long-term thing when it comes to eggshells. The calcium and stuff like that it secretes from the eggshells themselves. Recover resources. Agreed, creative redundancy. I'm just trying to make sure. I want to look at my notes here to make sure I have a thing. And I do have a thing here. It says, it's hard work and perhaps the hardest work you'll ever do. But if you want to live this way and you want to work hard, it's the most satisfying efforts. And that's what I was saying earlier. Not everyone can become 100% self-sufficient and live off grid. But if you decide to take this path, it truly is rewarding. Every time I grab something out of my garden that I didn't have to pay for you still pay for seeds, but think about how many fruits you get or how many tomatoes you get out of a plant. You know what I mean? So it's definitely more cost effective in regards to stuff like that. But I feel great that I grew this and I'm consuming something that I grew, and then I'm repurposing the seeds to grow more. I think it's awesome. You can reveal eggshells to your chickens. It helps them recover calcium. Great tip, Daily Prepper. I'm happy on my homestead. And Barbara, I agree with you. I would be happy too. I tell my wife all the time that all I want to do is go out, wake up in the morning, tend to the garden, tend to the animals, put some work in, sweat it out, and then come home in the evening, make supper, sit back on my porch, drink a cup of coffee, and watch the sun set. To me, that is my American dream, folks. That is my American dream. And I'm praying that eventually things will work out in my favor and I will be able to live that dream before I get too old enough to enjoy it or work. But we'll see what happens. Yes, and Jennifer Cruz has an awesome channel too. I'm looking at you guys talk in chat. Anyways, folks, we're here at an hour. I want to say thank you to everyone for joining me on this live stream. Truly appreciate every single one of you awesome people for, listening to Grey ramble on. Hopefully you got some value out of this. If you did, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. If you didn't, I understand. I rambled on too much. But truly appreciate you folks. I really do. You make this all worthwhile doing. I know I say that a lot, but without you guys, we just wouldn't have a channel, folks. As well as the mods. You mods are phenomenal people, and I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to say it every time I can think of it. You guys are the unsung heroes of the YouTubeverse. You help keep these chats clean. You help drop the links. You guys help support the channels in so many different ways. You guys are awesome people. Truly appreciate you mods. Don't forget, folks, next week I'll have Bizza Rizza Jizza on there, the Carrington Chronicles. I'll have a guest next week. Also, who else? Don't forget to, if you can, say a prayer for Tim the Prepping Preacher. He needs it, man. The more prayers, the power of prayer is awesome, folks. Show your support. Anything else that you guys might have catched that I mentioned earlier, check it out. If you get a chance, check out the Amazon store, my Discord link, and all my links to all my emails and all that fun stuff down below. I haven't asked for postcards in some time because I know money's tight, but if you guys get bored and want to send Grey a postcard or send a letter or anything like that, I truly appreciate that. I love hearing from you guys on a personal level. Other than that, I think that's about wraps it up. Tomorrow is Wednesday. I know I got a video planned. Hopefully it'll all come together. If not, I'll see you guys Thursday night on Late Night with Grey, which is at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, truly appreciate you. Everyone have a blessed evening. Good night. This is GreyMan. I'm out. I'll see you guys on the rebound.